There we go. Let's see if I can hear me. Sounds like yep, good. All right. All right, still trying to get stuff set up here. So while everyone's signing on, I'm going to change my feet over. Guess I should plug myself in. Let's see here. So much weird stuff. Here we go. Let's get rid of that. Okay. I'm not prepared. So if you're looking at the back of my head, you will see the front of my head here shortly. Lost my scissors. They must be over here. Hello, everyone. I'm using my iPad today, and it's a little harder to see the comments, but we will figure it out together. Let me turn. It's so dark. Okay, where was I? Up here. Got to put my feet on. My feet. And I'll go ahead and thread the machine with the first color. So. If you're new to us, I'm usually prepared. Been doing all kind of other things today. So, okay, let me plug myself in so you can hear me better. All right. Oh my gosh, pretty. Cyclones. I don't know what a cyclone does, but it sounds like a tornado, and that can't be fun. Seems dark, but we're just gonna go with it. I don't know what's up with my lighting today. I have everything the same. And looking at my screen over here, it looks a little blurry. Now, right before I came on, Zoom did an update, and I don't know what to do. Let me see something here. See if I can make it a little better. HD. Ooh, advance. There's an advance button. I don't know. See, it seems dark. I seem dark. Let me see here. Let me get maybe it's this light. Excuse me. Excuse me. A little better. Welcome to the show. Whatever. Okay. Yes. Let me get this closer to me so I can see y'all's. I wish there was a way I can. All right. I think I'm kind of ready here. I'm just checking all the Hello, everyone. All right. Well, let's get going today. We're just going to excuse all the whatevers and what ifs and all this stuff. So, if you welcome, we're back today, and we're going to be doing some fun stuff like normal. We've had, I'll tell you a little bit what's going on here. The practice I work for, I'm a little discombobulated. Practice I work for is underneath the big hospital that I work for. So we got hacked, which means we can't use computers. This has been going on for a little over a week. And so it's been very stressful. So I've been very thankful for the past couple days to be in the sewing room. So it's been crazy over here. Beautiful day. It's Super Bowl Sunday, which doesn't mean much for me because we don't really watch that. We like college ball, not the guy. Yeah, we don't like big or whatever NFL. Yeah, if you're watching that, yay for your team, whoever's playing. I don't even know who's playing. I really don't even know what's going on. But today, what's going to be even more fun is today we're going to learn a technique. And I have done this before, but I thought, this is a really cute way to make a cool, you can use this for anything, but make a really pretty and cool pot holder. So here's the pot holder. Here's the pot holder. Look how cute she is. Now the colors aren't that great. Me showing, well, it doesn't look bad on looks worse on my computer. But so this was created in the hoop with IQ Designer. Now, if you have my design center in your brother machine, you can do this. And if we have Palette 11, can we do it? Yes, we can. So you can really create some fun ones with this. Why am I doing reverse applique when I can do regular applique? Because I can say I did it, just because it's fun. Yes, you can do this regular applique way, or you can do reverse. Reverse is just something that's different, that, it's another technique that you're learning. So, and it'll make more sense as we go along what's going to happen. And what is reverse applique? Well, generally regular applique is you have your background, you put your background down, and then you go about, do whatever you're going to do. And then the the placement stitch will stitch down first. You take your big old honking piece of fabric and lay it down. Then you have a tack down stitch. After that, you trim around the outside. And then you have a finishing stitch. So it could be a zigzag, like satin like this. It could be whatever, really pretty handle wicking, anything really you want if you're designing it yourself. But reverse applique is a little bit different. We put the applique fabric down first, and then we do a tack down and we trim. You don't have to trim actually if you don't want to, but I do. And then we take our backing and put our background on top of this, let it stitch down, and it'll stitch this shape, and we cut from the inside out. Now, where you'll mostly see this is in, let's say, maybe some heirloom type of stuff. If you're doing like shadow work or anything like that, that's kind of more reverse applique. But I thought it'd be fun. Now with this, you can see I have some different fabrics right here. We're not building that. I actually pre-sewed some strips down. Now you can, get deep with this and build your in the hoop, stitching to create this. But I just grabbed some scraps, and this is the scraps I have from the Bright Hearted quilt that Paige Bartlett is hosting, and the fabrics from Dogwood Trail quilt company. I can't remember the last word from Ashley over there. So check it out. But I had some scraps because I'm working on this quilt, and I thought, well, I'll just put it there. Oh, I forgot to do a backing piece. That's okay. We'll grab one. So after I created it all, I did add a binding to it. This is up to you. You can leave it raw edge. You can, do, like a pillow top where you are an envelope style backing. You can sew one of those on. It's really up to you. but I like binding, and with binding, you can create this little loop. So if we see on the back here, and I'm going to show you how to put on binding today too. So we're making the full project right here. Let's see if there's any questions. Do you have any clue? No, Diane, no, I don't have any clue. That is something that I get asked multiple times a day. And since I'm a little peon down in the whatever, no, they're not going to tell us. So all I know is what I've heard, and what I've heard is they're working on it. So that's all I know, and they don't tell us anything. So how big is the binding piece? Judy, let me show you guys something. So really quickly, let's jump out of here. Oh, I guess I need to, before I do that, let me get, the binding piece is generally, I do 2.5 inches by width of fabric. You're just going to need one, but I did put all of that in a post, and let me find that post before I pull it up. Right here. Okay. Okay, let me share the screen with you. So if you want to go back and make this, and normally I don't do this, I don't have a lot of time, and so when I'm preparing something, I'll tell you during the live, but today I went ahead and put a supply list. So it's in the group. I posted it about 2 hours ago, and it'll say tonight what you need. And here's everything you need. So if we will be using either IQ Designer or My Design Center to build this. Again, you can build this in palette 11. And let's see, you'll need your 9.5 by 9.5 inch hoop or larger. No show, that says mesh stabilizer, just the plain. If I had wanted you to use washable, I would have put washable in there. So it's just no show or mesh. 10-inch square of background fabric. So if we scroll down, we can see the white background fabric. Let's see, 1 10-inch square of backing fabric, which I forgot to get for mine, but that's okay. I'll throw something on the back there. 1 10-inch square of batting. And this second one, or the one underneath the batting, is optional. I'm using actually the R&K version of Insulbright. So that is a material that you can put in oven mitts or anything like that to protect you from the heat of whatever you're picking up, or your table for whatever you're setting down on, like, a trivet or something. And I'll show you what it looks like here in a minute. And then about a 6-inch square for the heart or whatever design you choose. And then 1 2.5 inch by width of fabric. So that is salvage to salvage piece for binding, embroidery threads and sewing threads. So that's really all you need for this. And that is there for you. So you can go back and look at that. Let's see what I've got all my pieces right here, except for my back piece, which I need to find a piece for my back. So I've got my no-show mesh hooped right here. Just in my 9.5 by 9.5 inch hoop. And then I have my either Insulbright, or like I said, this is the R&K version of that special material that helps when you're using something hot, or when you're, like an oven mitts or something like that, or trivets, it reflects the heat away. So it's usually silver or something like that. Then regular batting, I'm just using a regular cotton batting. You can use really whatever you want. You can use wool. It's really up to you. And then I have my background fabric. So while it's stitching, I'll get a backing fabric. And then this is my piece for the heart. So again, I just went with a 1/4 inch seam, just cut a bunch of different strips. And this is what I'm going to be using for the heart. Now, can you use a solid fabric? Heck yeah, you can. You can use whatever you want. This is your baby. So, and then also, I didn't get ready my binding. So I will be getting my binding ready while we're stitching out. So that's really all you need. Let's see. Talk about it. Everyone's like, I'm ready to go. Okay. Okay, perfect. We got it all ready to go. And it's going to be really fun. It's just something a little different to do. I'll keep this over here. Now I am going to be using the embroidery side of my machine as well as my sewing side of my machine to put the binding on. And I also am going to be using the, if I can find it, it's up here somewhere. Where are you? There it is. My binding foot. I love this foot. This is if you want to, versus hand sewing the back, to the back of, because a lot of times when we do quilts, big quilts, I will hand sew this down. For little stuff, I feel comfortable using my binding foot. And this is really cool. This will fit all Baby Lock machines and all Brother machines, but it is a Baby Lock only product. So, but what it has, I don't know if you can really see that, and I'll show it later, is there's a ledge right here. And this ledge helps keep you straight. And if you want to be stitching the ditch, let's say for your binding, it helps guide you along for that. Also, there's some cool markings on it, so you can see some little notches and all that. So there's really, really a lot you can do with this. And I'm going to show you how to use this today. It's really easy and it really does help you keep straight. Now with my bindings, I don't mind the little line showing up. So mine's just about 1/8 of an inch away from the edge. And I just think it's cute. It does have a wide opening, which means you could do decorative stitches if you wanted to. So that's, I don't know if it's a 7 or a 5, but I guess I would have to figure that out, how wide that is. But you can use like a zigzag or a pretty flower stitch or something really cute, a candle wicking on your edges or on your binding. It's up to you. Like I said, it's your baby. You can do whatever you want. Now, let me mention a couple other things here. Okay, so if you're new to the group, welcome. We are here to sew and have fun and bounce ideas off of each other. So you guys know that if you've been here for a while, I love to see what you make. So go ahead and post what you make on the group. We're here to support each other. Also, next Saturday, I will be doing a class virtual class at Thomas Sewing Center, and they're out of Lexington, Kentucky. And I posted a couple days ago or yesterday, maybe, a link that you can go there if you have Palette 11 or you're just thinking about getting Palette 11. You can go and watch, or you can go and join it live. But I usually allow them to keep it up for 30 days after that, so you can rewatch it, or if you can't make it that day, you can watch it. So it's going to be really cool. It's the basics of Palette 11. My talking's off today. It's the basics of Palette 11. And if you're not sure what that is Baby Lock's embroidery program. Now, do you need embroidery design or designing programs? No, not if you're not going to design anything on your own. But there's some really cool things you can do with it. You can do photo stitch. You can design your own in the hoop projects. You can digitize. You can do anything really. So there's so much you can do. And my favorite is the photo stitch. So it's really neat. Really? Linda, that's really cool. I didn't know that. All signed up. Yay. So yeah. Nancy Green asks, is this the end foot? No, it's an actual binding. It's called the binding foot. So the end foot is one that comes with your machine. This is a separate, sorry, that glare. This is a separate purchase. So it's really cool. Like I said, I'll show it to you later. So it's one of my favorite feet. Okay, where am I at now? So I've said that. Okay, well, let's get started. Y'all ready? I am going, during the process, I'm going to be flipping back from the machine when we're everything Let me start over. So during the process of designing, we'll stay on the machine. And as we're stitching out, I am going to be flipping you over to my desk to show you some different techniques of cutting out, especially for reversed applique, because it's a little bit different if you've never done it. So don't be scared of it. Really easy, and it's kind of cool. So here we go. Let's flip it on over. There we go. Ah, there she is. All right. So let's put everything to the side here. Try not to move up. There we go. All righty. Oh my goodness. My batteries. Give me just a second, guys. I've got to plug into my PC, and there we go. Now it won't cut off in the middle. And how are we looking like that? I want to make sure we get a good view in there. Down just a hair. There we go. For some reason, I cannot get this to stay like even. I don't know why. I think it's time for a new camera. There we go. That's not too bad. I am going to be using my mouse. I use a wired mouse. You cannot use a wireless mouse in the machine, but you can definitely use a wired mouse. And I use one from Amazon, and it was like, at the time, under $10. So go ahead and order you one. They're really great to work with. Okay, so I'm going to start at the home screen. I was sewing earlier, so I don't need to be on that screen. But we're going to start in the home screen, and if you ever need to find out where the home screen is, it's the little house right up at the top. And now what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and start building this guy. When I pull it in front of you, it's not going to look great. Oh, it does look good. Dang. So maybe some lighting things are changing. So we have to build a foundation. So basically, think of when you're building an in the hoop project, you're kind of working from backwards and up. So you have to think of it working from the bottom up. What's going to stitch first? What's going to stitch second? And so on and so forth. So we want to first start with IQ Designer, or if you have My Design Center, you're going to start with that. So let's click on IQ Designer. Oh, mine's going to move here. If yours happens to say okay, that means it's just going to move the arm over. And there we go. Here we are. So the first thing that we want to do is we want to determine the size of the pot holder or whatever you're making it. So let's say you're going to just do a trivet and you wanted it to be circular. You just want to decide on what size you want. This one I came up with about 7.5 inches. So the first thing I want to do is I want to grab a square. I need that to keep everything in shape, right? So I'm first going to come to this little key right here that's a circle and square, and I'm going to tap on it. And this basically houses all of your shapes. And hey, Gary, a hug and a wave back to you. How are you? I miss y'all. Anyways, so what you're going to do is you're going to select whatever shape you want. I mean, you could have this cute little rounded corner one. You could have a circle. You can make a heart. Whatever you want for the outside shape. So I'm going to select my square. And then I'm going to select OK. And there's my square. So hopefully you can kind of see it okay. But I need to make it the size that I want. Now, when you notice when you're first designing and you bring something in, the last thing you bring in is going to have a red box around it. If I don't do this, but if I tap on it, that red box is going to go away. And what that means, that red box means that it's selected. Now, I'm going to back up so it's still selected. If unlike in our embroidery screen, I can't just tap the things that I want to select. You have to be very careful about that. So you want to work basically with one item at a time and just be very careful not to tap the screen and erase that red box. You can always use the back buttons to get that red box around it. So now, since the red box is around there, I can select my size key, and I can change the size using my proportionally larger button, which is the box with the 4 arrows going outside of it, to about 7.5. And how did I pick that number? I don't know. I just kind of looked on my my big mat over here, my cutting mat, and I said, well, that looks about good size. You can make them larger, smaller, however you want to. You can make little coasters this way. That would be really cute. So I have I'm going to now go ahead and select OK. I now have my shape for my pot holder. So now what I want to do is I want to have my applique shape. And you see I'm putting that in quotations. This is going to be different for those of you who do regular applique. You're probably thinking, well, why are we putting that there now? It's going to make total sense once we get it all together and start stitching out. So now what we want to do is select what shape we're going to use. I used a heart earlier, so let's use that. Since it is close to Valentine's Day, we're going to go back to our shapes and we're going to select a heart, but I think I'm going to select like a more fun heart. So you have all these shapes right here in the very first screen. And you can see that this guy's highlighted. If I tap the one that looks like a little flag, I have more shapes. And we have these cute little fun hearts. So I think I'm going to choose number 18 and then say okay. So a little bit more loosey-goosey, kind of free, flowing heart. Now, I don't want her to be that big. I want her around maybe 5 inches. So if you notice, that red box is around my heart. So that means it's selected and the size key is available. So I'm going to select size. And I'm going to use my proportionally smaller key, which is the box with the 4 arrows going in, to shrink it down. So if I press and hold and I watch my numbers right up here, I'm going to get it to around 5. Now I say 5-ish because it doesn't really matter if I'm exactly on 5 or not. I mean, it's not a big deal. So right here, you're going to see 5.01 by 4.96. Perfect. I'm happy with that. Now what I want to do is select OK at the bottom. And let me check for questions. Okay. Now what I want to do is go ahead and assign each of these 2 separate items. Remember, we have our box and our heart, a stitch type, which means either a zigzag stitch or a decorative stitch or a straight stitch. I want to go ahead and assign those to this. So I'm going to go to my line properties. And if you're new to this, your line properties is the grouping of 4 icons up at the top here. This is line properties. And if you're on an Altair Meridian or a Destiny or the Brother Like machines, you won't have this little guy or this little girl here. You'll just see a grouping of 4 icons. Same thing. The ones below it are your fill options, and we're going to use those in a little bit. So I want to tap on the little piece of paper right here. And then what I want to do is select let me grab my pen out so my finger's not all in the way. I want to select my running stitch. So I'm going to tap on it right here. So it's the second one over. Not working. It's the second one over. And then I'm going to select a color. And why am I going to select a color? It's just to make sure that when I tell the line to change, I can see that it's changed. I can see that it's changed to a different color. So I'm going to select this blue here. You can choose any color you want and then say OK. Now what we want to do is go back to that first grouping of 4 icons and select the bucket. It's important to select that bucket because now I can take my finger, my mouse pointer, my stylus pen, whatever you got, and you're going to touch each of these lines, or let me say each of the design lines. So just go tap. You can't see this, but it turned blue all the way around. It's just a dark blue. And I'm also going to select my heart. So now both of those lines are going to be a running stitch. That's exactly what I want. And as we go along, we're just going to build this up. I'm not going to tell you exactly why. I'll kind of mention it. It's easier to explain to you once we start stitching it out, and then it'll all make sense. Okay, so the first thing before I leave this screen is I want to save this. I want to save this. Let me see if I can get this a little more focused. I see it's a little blurry. It still looks blurry. Okay, so what do I want to do? I want to save it to memory now. So wherever your memory key is, it's what you're going to use. So mine, because I'm on a Solaris, says memory. Now, if you're on an Altair Meridian or a Destiny or the Brother-like comparison machines, you're going to see a pocket kind of like this, like a jeans pocket, with an arrow going inside. Not an arrow going outside, but you may see a pocket with an arrow going inside. That's what I want you to select. But as Solaris users, we can use the memory key. So let's tap memory, and then let's save it to the machine. Don't worry about these, guys. You don't need to use those today. You may end up using them later, but we're just going to use the machine today. So let's tap on that. And this is going to be our, I was just trying to think of the right word for this, blueprint for the rest of the design. So we have to save this. But we're going to go ahead and take this over to the embroidery side of the machine. So all we're going to do is select next. And remember, we saved it. If you don't save it now, if you forget to save it at this point and you select next, you should be able to see another memory key right here, okay? Or you can hit return and go back to that. If you don't save it right now, you have to redesign it. So let's, if you haven't already selected next, we are now in what I kind of call the IQ editing screen. This is where you can change the stitch length and do all that fun stuff to it. However, we're not going to mess with that. We're going to leave everything as is. So if you are an Altair, Meridian, or Destiny owner, or the Brother-like machines to that, I just can never remember their name, then you're going to see the word preview right here. And what I want you to do right now is select preview OK. Then you're going to be able to see the word set. You'll see set. So I want you to select set OK. Now, if you're on a Solaris, we automatically have the set. So we're going to select set OK. And now we are in our embroidery area of our machine. But we have a little bit more to do, quite a bit, but hey, this is a great exercise. So what we're going to do now is select add, because we're going to start building our design from our blueprint. This is going to stitch out first, and it's going to make sense. And again, once we get to that point, let me check to make sure there's any questions. Hey, Christina. Okay. All right. So we're going to select add. And then we're going to select, look, I want you to look for the words IQ Designer. So they may be down here, or it may be in this general area right here. So let's select IQ Designer. And at this point, once we're in IQ Designer, we are going to recall our blueprint. So enable. I don't know what's wrong with my talking today. I don't know. It's just been a long week, I guess. In order to pull up our blueprint that we made earlier, we should have saved it, right? Well, where do we find that? Easy. You're going to look for the pocket with the arrow going outside of it. So we're going to open it up. And it may be down here. If it's not up here, it may be down in this area. So it's the pocket with the arrow going outside of it. So let's tap on that. And you're going to see two on mine because I designed it earlier as well. So here it is right here. So I'm going to select it. It's always going, the last thing you saved is always going to be in the upper left-hand corner. And you can see when I tap on it, that blue shows up. That means I've got the hiccups. I've selected it. So if I select this one, oops, if I tapped on this one, it would turn blue, but we want to select this one right here. So we're going to select OK once we've selected it, and there we go. All right, I'm going to tap on this because what I want you to see is that we have our original blueprint here, right? But for this next step, all I want to do is stitch the heart, not the box. So the easiest way to do this is to basically turn off the box line. So we do that by coming up here, back up to our line properties, and we're going to select the little piece of paper, and we're going to select this no sew line. So let's tap on that, and that is your little zigzag with a red arrow going, not red arrow, a red line going through it. So let's tap on that and then say OK. We're then going to turn on our bucket, and we're just going to tap the box now. Don't tap the heart, just the box. And on your screen, you'll be able to see that if you were to zoom in, and I can zoom in and show you. Let's see. Let's see if we can get closer. There's that line. That's my heart. I can tell that. Oh, that's my heart. There it is. Oh, it doesn't show it like this if you zoom in close. What I'm trying to do is show it. Well, if you were to zoom in to about 400, it looks like little marching ants. So you kind of know that, or if you went to the next page, it won't be there. So you'll know that you turned it off. But you don't want to do that to the heart. So if you have accidentally tapped your heart, you can use your back button and it'll turn your heart back on. And I keep using quotations because that's the easiest way for me to explain things. I talk with my hand. So once we've done that, we're now going to select next. Oh, wait, I'm going to return. So this is up to you if you do this, but I think it's a good idea. I've returned back to that page. I am going to change the color of that line, okay? And it just keeps everything straight for you, meaning like you know what's coming next. It's not all the blue, it's not all one color. We want them separate. So I'm going to, in order to do that, you can come back to your line properties. You want to select, make sure your running stitch is selected, and then choose a color. I'll choose this green. And then make sure your bucket is on. There we go. Now we're good to go. So let's select next. We're not going to change anything right now. We're now just going to hit set OK. Or if you have a preview down here, preview OK, set OK. Now this is going to fall right or directly on top of the other heart. Now basically what we have created was this top one, this very first one's going to be our placement stitch for our fabric. After that, we're going to lay over our piece of applique fabric over the heart, and then it's going to stitch it down in that shape. And after that, we would trim. This is where it gets a little confusing in reverse applique, though, if you've never done it. So we're putting our applique down first before we put our background fabric, but it'll make sense later. So now what we want to do is select add, make sure there's no, okay. To make sure there's no questions, we're going to select Add and IQ Designer. And now what we want to do is go back to our, let's pull our blueprint back out. I guess that's the easiest way I kind of like that word, blueprint. I might be using that. I know it sounds silly, but it works for me. We're going to recall it. So we're going to go back to our pocket with the arrows going outside of it. So let's tap on that. And we're going to grab it again and bring it into the screen. So let's just grab it and then say, okay. Now, since we saved it, what we want to do is check. So we want to make sure, I'm going to tap off the screen here. We saved it as a straight stitch, so we shouldn't have to change it. If you didn't, and if you're unsure, you're just going to go back to your line properties, and we're going to select our little running stitch, and let's select a different color. So pink, okay, and then we want to make sure our bucket is on. And now what we're going to do is tap the lines again. There we go. So that way you know it's going to be a running stitch. So let's select next. And again, for this one, we're not changing anything. So we can either hit preview okay, if you have preview down at the bottom, or set okay. So hit preview okay, set okay, or if you're on a Solaris or the Brother Like machine, set okay. And this is going to lay directly on top. So now this is our background piece. And you're going, oh my gosh, that piece is going to come over top of our applique. Yes, we're going to go in and trim that out. But I'll show you cool, easy tricks. Don't worry about it. It's really neat. So let me check for questions. What are we making? We are making a reverse applique pot holder. Yay! Sorry, it's not the greatest picture, but you'll see it here in a little bit. Okay, so now what we need to do is add our beautiful fill stitching if you want to. I like fill stitching because I'm a quilter at heart, so any kind of quilt look to me is, well, you know, y'all have seen it, my whole wall, everything's got fill stitches or quilting stitches on it. So we're going to do it in the heart. You don't have to. Definitely do it on the sides though. That kind of keeps everything together, especially with the batting and the Insel Bright. It'll keep it all together. So if you only choose to do on here, that's perfectly fine. That's the one I want you to mostly do. You don't have to put it here, but why not? Why not? All right, so we're going to go to Add, and we're going to go to IQ Designer. All right, what do you think we're going to do now again? We're going to pull up our blueprint. So let's go grab her. So we're going to go back to our pocket with the arrow heading out. Thanks, Cindy. I know I'm using my scraps from Brighthearted. Why not, right? I actually had to, oops, cancel. Don't hit what I just hit. I want to select the pocket with the arrow go out. I actually had to get Ashley and be like, oh my gosh, because I miscut a bunch of stuff. I had to have her ship me new fabric. All right, so let's select the last one, or the first one, really, and then say, okay, so we've got our blueprint up. I'm going to tap here so we can see our box. And there was a question that came over. Will you have to raise the cursor? Yes, ma'am. And we're going to talk about that. So good thing to bring up. But absolutely, we will be bringing that up, that foot up, because we're going to have so many different heights or thicknesses, excuse me. So, okay. Now we want to put our fill stitching in, but I don't want these to stitch out again. Does that make sense? I mean, we're just if I can eliminate some stitching, then I'm just going to not have it stitch out this outline again. So what we do want to do is come up here to your nose, to your line properties, and we're going to select our little piece of paper, and we're going to select no sew. We're going to turn on our bucket and tap both of the parts of our design. So the box and the heart. Now they'll stay there, but they won't stitch out. So we want to go grab our fills to fill in. And I'll show you what I used. You can use whatever you want. This is your baby. So this grouping of 4 icons right here are your fill stitches. So let's select the little piece of paper. And for the first part, I really think this came out really good in the stippling inside of the box part. So I'm going to turn on the stippling. I'm going to select the color and say, okay. I'm now going to take and turn on my bucket and tap in between the heart. I know it's hard for you to see on my screen, in between the heart and the square. And there we go. So now what I want to do is find a fill stitch for the center. So let's go back to that little piece of paper, and I'm going to use my built-in stitches right here. So you see the little bubbles? I'm going to tap on that, and that'll bring me up my fill stitches. So let's hit select, and here they are. Now, of course, I have the Solaris with the 3 upgrades, so I've got all the stitches in here. If you have palette 11, you have all of them too. So, but if you're on a Destiny or Meridian or Altair, you do have less stitches, but you have a lot to play with. And I'll go ahead and answer this because it usually comes up. I don't know if they'll ever add new stitches to the Altair Meridian. I just don't know. They don't. I find out about the time you all find out when new things come out. So. Okay, so now we're going to go find a pretty fill stitch. And for some reason, guys, I love this one right here so much that I'm going to select it. It's one I've been using on a lot of different things. I just love it. It's so cute. It reminds me of Woodstock on Charlie Brown because of the little hair or whatever. I don't know if it's his foot or hair or something like that. It's kind of shaped like that. It's so cute. So I'm going to select OK. And I'm going to select a separate color. So let's see. And it doesn't matter because you can put whatever thread you want in the machine. I'm going to make sure my bucket is on. And I'm going to tap in the heart. Ta-da! Okay. At this point, what I do want to do is now select next, because this is where you get to play with the sizing of your fill stitch. If we look right now, my fill stitch for my stipple is tiny. And I know I'm on it because it's showing up right here. So I'm going to come to the second one. Yours may be down here. The second one where it says 0.200, that's my spacing. So basically, I'm going to come and tap on that and raise that puppy up. I don't know. I'm just going to start at 0.6 and see what happens. Nope, need it lower. That will not look pretty. So I'm just playing with it. That was 0.480. I do want a little bit more. I do want to, to see more of the stippling. I even want to see more of it here. So just get it to where it looks appeasing to you. Now, if you're on an Altair Meridian, you're not going to be able to see this chain. You'll be able to see it when you hit preview OK. And then you can look at it and go, okay, I like that, or I don't like it. If you don't like it, don't hit set. You're going to hit return. Remember, on the Destiny, Altair, Meridian, you have to hit preview to view what it's going to look like. If you don't like it, you hit return. But remember, you have a second part. So you'll look at whatever you've got here and hit return. So you can now work on the second part, which is your heart. So to get to your heart, you're going to use your arrow to arrow over one. Now we're on the heart. This is where I do want you to turn on an outline. So I want you, if you are on a Solaris, your outline is going to be off. If you're on Altair Meridian or Destiny, I believe it's automatically on, so you don't have to worry about this. But if you can see this key, it has like a box and some bubbles, and it says off. I want you to tap it and turn it on. There we go. Perfect. All right, so I'm looking at it, and I think I want it to be a little wider, not so, much in there. So I'm going to tab, oops, let me show you. So here's your size. It'll say 100% to begin with. And you can raise it up quite a bit. I think you can go, what is it, 200? Yes, 200%. If I were to select 200%, let's see what would happen. It's big. But I'm going to go about 150 and see what happens. I still want it less than that. Let's do 120. Good. I'm happy with that. That looks nice. Now, again, you can go in and you have some other tools that you can play with to manipulate all this. So you can always, on your own time, play with the other buttons that come along with that. You can use the pattern for the Find the Hearts. Can you use the pattern for the Find the Hearts? Susan, I don't quite understand your question. Yeah, I'm just trying to see if I can figure that out. I'll go ahead and retype it, and I'll see what we can do. All right. So at this point, what you want to do is you can save at this point. If you feel nervous, you can save by using memory or the pocket with the arrow going inside of it. I'm okay. I don't need to, but if you feel uncomfortable, go ahead and save this right now. It also allows you to come back in and change. If you didn't like this, let's say you're making several of these, I don't have on or off. It would be, Dolores, it would be either down here at the bottom, but you only have it on the stipple. Or no, I'm sorry, excuse me. You don't have that on the stipple. So if you're using stipple, you won't see on or off. Okay. So what was I saying? I don't know. Anyways, let's just keep going. All right. So if you're happy with this, we will now just hit set OK. Or if you are on Altair Meridian or Destiny, preview OK, set OK. So let's do it. All right, so now you can kind of see something's building here. So what we want to do next, after we put, and we're almost done, after we put our decorative stitches on, we want to have a finishing stitch for the heart. So that would be my satin stitch right here. So see my purple satin stitch. So we're almost there. So we're going to go to add at the bottom. And we're going to go to IQ Designer. And we're going to recall our blueprint. So we're going to use our little pocket with the arrow going outside of it. And then we're going to come here when it pops up, and we're going to grab it. And then we're going to say, OK. And there it is. Now what we want to do is we want to turn off our square. We don't need that right now. So we're going to go to our line properties. We're going to then select our little piece of paper and no sew. We'll then say OK at the bottom. We will then, let's see, People make hearts for other people to find. They're called Find the Heart. Oh, I've never heard of that. I've never heard of that. Interesting. I'll have to look that up. Okay, so we're going to turn on our bucket and we're going to tap our square only. Okay, so that means that's not going to stitch. But we are going to make this design right here our final, let's say, we'll call it our final stitch for our applique. And what we want to do is go into line properties. And I'm going to use the satin stitch. You can use your candle wicking. You can use your other built-in stitches, whatever you want. This is up to you. But I'm going to use my zigzag. I'm going to choose a color and then say okay. I'm then going to make sure my bucket is on. And then I will tap my heart. Now what we want to do is select next. And on our edit screen, whenever I do any type of applique, I always make the zigzag larger or wider. That way it encapsulates any of those little raw edges. So I'm going to tap the one that has the zigzag with the arrow going up and down on it. And I'm going to change that to 0.2. And then I'm going to select OK. I also like to change the density just a little bit. So you can change the density with the little button that has 100% on it. You can go up 10 degrees or down 10 degrees. So we're going to go to 110 and then OK. Is it necessary? Nope. There's someone on Missy's group that shows it. Okay. Thanks. Yeah, I'll check it out. So there's my heart. So what we're going to do after that is select set OK, or if you are on the other machine that has a preview at the bottom, say preview OK, set OK. And that's going to lay directly on top of our applique. Perfect. Now, the last step's pretty darn easy. We are going to go back to IQ, but all we need is our square to attach our back piece. So this piece in the back. So we're going to go to Add, IQ Designer. We're going to go to the pocket with the arrows going outside of it. We're going to select our blueprint again. OK at the bottom. And we're going to turn off our heart. Because right now we have our square and our heart. We don't need the heart. So in order to do that, we're going to go to our line properties with our little piece of paper. And we're going to select No Sew. OK. Turn on our bucket and tap our heart. And then we're going to go to Next. And we're going to hit set OK, or if you have preview OK, set OK. And what that's going to do is be our very last stitch. Woo! So at this point, if you wanted to save this, I would select save or cancel. I would select memory down at the bottom. And then that way you don't have to go back and redesign this whole thing and save it to your machine or to a USB stick. And now you can make multiples of these because it really doesn't take that long to stitch out. I found that it's pretty darn quick. So let me turn this back on me real quick. That way I can show the project again for those who asked, but kind of you get to see it better than just halfway there. Okay, so this is what we're making. I am going to show you how to put on binding as well if you choose to do that. So here it is. She's so cute. I love it. I'm really proud of this one. Now, again, if you want to do a fun, funky piece in the middle, I just sewed strips together. You can see they're just sewn together, different widths. You can do a solid, you can, again, once again, it's your baby. You get to do whatever you want. So to start out, we're going to take our hoop that already has our no-show mesh in it, and we are going to, I'm going to go ahead and just kind of lay it down for a second. I'm going to take, and this is important, set your background fabric aside, because first you want to take your Insel Bright and lay it on the hoop. I usually put the shiny side towards me. I don't know if there's a right. Do I care? Not really. Okay, so that Insel Bright is down first, and then I'm going to take my batting and lay it directly on top of that. Of course, you could have done them together. That probably would have been easier because now I'm catching stuff. And I'm just going to center it in the hoop. And I'm going to slide it on. There we go. So now I'm going to flip back over and we're going to walk through the process of stitching it out together. And then it's going to start making sense. All right, here we go. Perfect. All right, so we have our fabrics hooped. You can't see that yet because what I want you to do now is go to embroidery. Since we're not hooping all of this material and all we have is, Diane, hold on. Wait a second. Okay. That's why I kept telling you, hold on, it's going to make sense. Okay. So once you get it to the embroidery screen, what I like to do, since we are floating basically these two 10-inch pieces on top, is I'm going to select this key down at the bottom. You see that little tracer key? It's a tracer. So we're going to tap that, but I'm just going to let you watch real quick what it does. It's going to trace and make sure that we are in the right range. All right, so it is directly in range. Now, the next thing that I want y'all to do, we're going to come back to our screen and we're going to raise our foot height. So see this little guy up here? Right here? We're going to go into our settings, and what you will find, it's going to be on one of your pages, but what you want to look for is embroidery foot height. I've already set mine to 0.100. Cindy, it's 9.5 by 9.5 if or larger. So I want you to set it to 0.100. Now, you may have to, if the Solaris, you have these little boxes, you may have to use a plus and minus, but you don't want your embroidery height or your embroidery foot to squish your material. So you want to raise your embroidery foot. We're going to get press OK. And Diane was asking, where is our, what did she say? Where's the placement stitch? It's our first stitch. That's our placement stitch right there. Right there, that very first thing that we designed. That is our placement stitch. Like I said, it's going to start coming together as we build it with each other. So let me do this. If you get dizzy, I want you to close your eyes. I'll tell you when to open them. Is that right? Oh, let me. All right, you can open them now. I just don't want you to get dizzy. Okay, so that way we can see my hoop in full view. All right. Now the first stitch, you can have whatever color thread you want. I'm using two colors in this whole thing, and that's a dark purple and a light purple. I'm using the dark purple so I can see my stitch. So it's going to stitch your box and your heart. Here we go. I am using a regular bobbin thread in the bottom, depends on which machine you have. In your book, it suggests which bobbin thread. I do not use preloaded bobbins. I wind all my bobbin thread because I believe you get a better tension out of that. And if you use preloaded bobbins, throw that bobbin away when you're done. Do not reuse that bobbin. Thanks, Carol. All right, so with the running stitch, it automatically goes around twice. We can't make it just go once. I actually like that it goes twice, but if you only want it to go once, you'll just stop it when it goes around one time. So it's going to first stitch our box. I'm getting a terrible view there. There we go. That's better. Oh, looks much better. And now it's going to stitch our heart. This is going to be our placement stitch. That's gonna be so, it's gonna be so cute with this shape. All right, where did I put here? All right, so remember I said we're going to use the applique fabric first. And that's what's really odd about this process. If you're not used to this process, you're gonna be like, it's weird. It is weird. So I'm going to take this and I'm actually going to lay it at an angle. Let's do it this way. The other one I laid it. Just because I want them not to be straight up and down. I'm just going to lay it down like that. And then I'm going to let it stitch down. And I am going to trim around the outside when I'm done. So cute. So cute. Let me grab my applique scissors. Okay, now that I'm tangled up, there we go. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to trim on the outside, get all of this away. You don't necessarily on this applique right here have to get, you know, like where you're so close you're cutting the thread on this one. Now the inside one you will. So I'm just going to go ahead and cut out this shape. I'll get my hands out of the way here in just a second. Yes, I am using my scissors backwards. I know. I know. But that's so I can come over here. And again, I'm being a little more loosey-goosey on this one, and it's actually okay because it's going to get covered up. Now, when I get to the other part, the other trimming, you're going to see I'm going to take this off and we're going to go to a different camera. We're going to lay it on a flat spot. Trim. Ooh, that is a seam. Oh, there we go. Ooh, that was thick. There we go. Oh, look how cute. Really cute. Okay. So now what we want to do is we want to take our background fabric and yes, lay it directly on top. What? What's going on? We're going to cover up our heart. It's okay. We'll rescue our heart in a minute. And I know a lot of you are going, why not do it the other way? Just because I'm showing you a different technique. That's all. It's just a different technique. That's all it is. Can you build this the other way with the applique on top? Heck yeah, you can. You can do whatever you want. So it's just something different. And, you know, the more things you do, the more touching you do on your machine, the more you're going to learn how to use your machine. Ah. All right, now I'm yelling from the background here. Now it's going to trace the heart. Okay, so Diane, I can show you that later. Yep. I can't show it to you right now because I can't. Yeah, it's on the embroidery screen, yeah, I'll have to show you in a little bit. Okay, so we're going to remove this, and I'm going to take you to a different camera if it decides to work. It was acting silly earlier, but let's see if it's working now. Good Lord, that's bright, isn't it? Oh, holy moly. Let's see if I can turn that down. Did that help any? Nope. All right, we might be doing this on screen. I was having problems with this earlier, so we're just going to do it back on the regular camera. Okay. I was trying to be fancy for y'all. Didn't work. Okay, let's just do it from right here. Okay, let's zoom in right there. Now, what you have right now is you have your your covered up applique, right? Oh my goodness, what am I gonna do? Well, here, I'm gonna show you how to get that guy out. Now, I want you to be very careful though, because we need to just cut the top fabric, not the applique fabric. And so if you take a seam ripper and you gently pierce it and you know you're just lifting up that top piece, you can go and in short little cuts, kind of start a hole. And the reason why I'm saying short is to make sure you're not pulling up your applique fabric. I'm not pulling it up. So I've got me a little hole to start right there. And now I can take my scissors and slip into there. And I want you to notice I am pulling up on the fabric up until I get to where I need to be. There it is right there. And now I'm going to go around and as close as possible, I'm going to start trimming on the inside of my heart. Or whatever shape you decided to use. And you can kind of get hunks out at a time if you want to. However you want to do it. And I'm going to get as close as possible. But the reason why I made my zigzag so big is so I can capture anything that any of those little pokies or anything like that. And turn her. I do much better cutting up where it looks like I'm cutting upside down. I don't know why. That just works best for me. Now, what's really cool about this technique and what it really does, if you don't want to put some fill stitches in here, it makes the center pop out really well. So it almost looks like it's trapunto. So you could just leave it as is and not have any fill stitches go on top of it. It doesn't kind of gives it this really cool effect. I'm fighting. All right. There we go. There she is. Look how cute. Turn it around again. There we go. All right. Look how stinking cute. Love it. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and slide it back on. And now what's going to happen is the decorative stitch is going to start stitching out on the outside first. And I'm going to change the color because I want a lighter purple on this one. I might do the darker purple inside. I haven't decided yet. It's kind of a purple pink. It's real light. So this is going to do my stippling. And we're going to let that run. Okay, so yeah, it is. Yeah, the puffy heart is kind of cute, isn't it? Maybe that's what I'll do. I'll just skip the stitching in the center and leave it puffy just for a difference. So if you had put fill stitching in here, then you can let that run. But I think I'm going to skip it because I do kind of like it. And I'm just going to go straight to the vinyl stitching on the heart, which is a tight zigzag or a satin stitch. Oh, and I forgot to mention, I am using a 90 needle because I'm going through multiple different layers of material. And try to get that back looking somewhat good for you guys. I know I don't have the best setup, but hey, I get the job done. Cindy, you can, but remember, it's going to be an all over quilting design. You can't really separate it out. You would want to do the other way. You'd want to quilt the background first and then put the applique on top of that. Otherwise, it's going to cover the whole thing. We're getting there. Thanks, Christina. So almost done. And then we're going to put the back piece on. All right. Yay. Okay. So after this one, Because remember, I skipped the stitching here, but after your satin stitch, what you're going to do is you are going to remove the hoop from the machine, not the design from the hoop, and just flip it over. That's pretty on the back. And I'm going to take my crumpled up, this is my really quick back piece. I did press it, but not well enough. And I'm going to take some embroidery tape. I've got R&K Pink Perfection tape, pink, I always say Pink Perfection, embroidery tape here. And also Kimberbell. I have the Kimberbell one too. They both work great. Now, my idea about this is don't tear it, cut it. And the reason being is if you tear it, you got these little pieces that like to get caught on the hoop, or I'm sorry, on the bed. So if you cut it, you're less likely to do that. So I'm just going to put 2 pieces down, whatever works for you. If you want to put 4 pieces, 20 pieces, whatever works for you, makes you feel comfortable. I just make sure that it's smoothed down and the edges are smoothed down. And now I'm going to flip it over and slide it back on. And that very last stitch is just going to stitch attach the back to the front. And you always want to go make sure nothing's folded. Perfect. And there we go. And then we'll trim it and add the binding. And remember, it's going to go around twice. Let's see. You know what, Trudy? Mike has done some of them. I hate to say that, unfortunately, because of work and school, I haven't had a chance to really stitch out any of the big designs. But they are so gorgeous. Look on, I'm not sure if you're a Solaris owner, there may be some done on that group, or go to Mike's page. He's stitched out some, they're beautiful. Okay, so let me switch back over to live Anna. Okay, here we go. There I am. Hi. Okay, so we're going to take this out and let's see. Oh, thanks, Joreen. I appreciate that. Okay, so what we're going to do is I'm going to pop this puppy out, and I'm going to really quickly go over to where I can't show you because it was acting up. And I'm going to use you can either use a pair of scissors or you can use a rotary cutter and a ruler. And I'm going to trim 1/8 of an inch away, so outside of this stitch line. So give me just a split second. I'll be right back. Won't take me long. Got my binding. Let me plug myself back in, and here we go. So I know that's not pretty, but going to get hidden anyways. Okay, so 1/8 of an inch away. And let's turn the camera back over to the machine. And I'm going to change out a couple things. I'm going to change out my bobbin case. And if you're on like a, let's see, could you put backing fabric under no-show mesh and then sew design stitch area at the same time? You could, Lynn, you'll have to definitely trim it out. It's up to you if you want to do it that way. Or you can put your back piece on under the hoop at any time, really. I just like a clean back. So, but yes, you can do it that way. You'll just have to trim it out. Just kind of like we did this. Let's see. Okay, just making sure. Okay. So what I'm going to do is flip back over. I keep knocking the camera around, but I'm going to show you how I do the binding. This is not, the way I do it is the way I do it, and it's not the only rule. So if you have a better way of doing it, awesome, go for it. I think that's great. I just do it this way, and we're going to switch over. Here we go. Okay, so first what I'm going to do, I'll bring this over. Now, with the baby lock machines and some of the baby lock machines, let me say that, you have 2 different bobbin cases. And yes, I should be doing this with the machine off. So, but I'm on live and, don't follow what I do. Should have the machine off, but I'm going to pull out my embroidery bobbin case and put in my sewing bobbin case. Your manual will tell you if you should do that or not. I follow the rules with this because the tensions are set on either for where I like them. And so there we go. I'm going to take my foot off and then put my regular shank on. Have I lost it? Nope, here it is. Good. I'm going to put my regular shank on. Now, to attach my binding, I am going to use a 1/4 inch, but with a flange, and then I will use that fun special binding foot I was showing you earlier. But I'm going to attach my binding first. But what I need to do is go home and get into sewing. And I'm just using the regular sewing setting 03 for the baby lock. All right. I am going to change my needle to, I'm using an 80 universal. So here for that, where is it? It's that one. There we go. Okay. And then I'm going to put my thread on and my bobbin that I'm using. And I am using some 30, is this 30 weight? I think you can use kind of whatever you want. Yes, 30 weight Sulky blendables, just because I thought it was pretty and it kind of matched my fabric. I've got my bobbin ready. I'm going to put her in. Thread my machine. How many steps do we have, Ginger? I don't know. I'll have to count up. Must have done something wrong because after the satin stitch, mine went back to the beginning steps. So forward. Huh, I'm not sure. I just turned mine off. Let me count. 1, 2. And we've got that 3. Wait, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. No, 6, 7. I think 7. So I would have to really go back down and dig it where it was, but I think there's 7 of them total. I think mine I cut mine down to 6, but if you did it the way of the first one, 7 should be about right. Okay. All right. So I have my 2.5 inch by width of fabric, salvage to salvage, piece of binding fabric, and I have folded it in half, wrong sides together, and pressed. What we're going to do, I want you to look at your heart, and I do this face up. Some people do it, where they wrap around to the front. I wrap around to the back on everything. So we're going to start up here, and it's going to seem a little weird. So what you can do, if you want to, is take a ruler. I just have one. I'll take this one. Got something in my mouth. And I can take my ruler and put the 1/4 inch mark right here. So I'll show you once it's drawn. I wish I could have shown you over there, but I can't. So I have basically 1/4 inch from each edge here. This is where I'm going to start sewing. This is not traditional binding. This is binding with pizzazz, because we're going to take our binding and finish it off as a loop. So this is a little bit different. What I'm going to do is take my binding, and I'm just going to start it over the edge, but I am going to start sewing about right at that 1/4 inch mark. I'm going to make me a line here. Hard to see where there is. And I'm just going to stitch like I'm doing regular binding. So I'm going to start to sew here. And let's see if I can get it in good for you guys. You got to know that my machine is in a corner unit, so I don't have straightforward views. So that's why everything looks like it's so far away. So I try my hardest to get it the best view I can get for you. All right. So I'm going to start stitching from that right around that 1/4 inch mark. And I always do a little back stitch right there. Now, if you've never bound before, sounds weird, if you've never bound before, then I would suggest watching a few videos on how to do the corners. You can watch me how I do mine, but they may not be, So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop a 1/4 inch away from this edge right here. I'm going to turn my fabric, and I'm going to come and stitch out that point. And I'll show you what that looks like. So it's kind of like a little wave up. So go up and out. That makes it to where I can take this piece right here and go up to that pretty little, goes along with the point there, and then back down. And I'm going to cover it up. So that's going to make my miter pointer. Now I'm going to slip it back under. And go to the next corner and do the exact same thing. My favorite feature on the sewing side is the scissors. That is my can't live without, will not buy a machine without it. All right, so I'm going to fold up and then back down. And if you've never done binding before, like I said, go watch some videos, practice on some crappy fabric. Just get used to doing the motions. But again, you can sew on a, like you're making a pillow, and put envelope backs on the back of this if you want to, rather than have binding. That's fine. Whatever you want to do. Let me check for questions. Sorry, my head's away. Okay, how many? Oh, you had 11. Woo, 11. I don't know the steps. Okay. All right. I'm a little behind. Now we're going to do the same thing for this last corner. However, we're going to, what I want you to do is take this piece and kind of fold it out of the way. And we're going to stop a little bit before that 1/4 inch right there. So I'm coming up to it. I'm going to push this out of the way just so it doesn't get caught up in there. And I'm going to stop, I don't know, maybe a 1/2 inch before that 1/4 inch mark. And I'll do a little double lock here and cut. Because now what I'm going to do is I'm going to make my little clips here. And before I work on this side right here, I'm going to take and pull everything to the back and see what happens when you do it like that. Look at that nice mitered corner. I'm going to round this to the back and I'm going to place pins. I'm sorry, clips. I'm going to do that all the way around and it'll hold. And you can, you know, look at your back and see if you're even, all that. Up to you. You want to do this. Now you do want to flip it kind of to the back when you get to the corners, because right here, we want to make sure that we're folding this right. So it's this side's going to come down and this side's going to come over. So you got a nice little miter on the back too. And I always take one and put right there. I'll just do it from the back from here on out. And I do have my pin or my clips upside down. I want the big chunky part to the front, the smooth part to the back. And grab some more. And I'm going to do the same thing. Fold that down. So I have a nice little pretty corner. My dialect went up. Okay, so we're going to come around. We're going to keep doing that all the way around. Sorry if my hands are in the way. And turn and burn. Ready? Now, oops, wrong way. Go one more up here. Just one more, and I'm hanging back in the back. Because, all right, so I've got it going all the way around. But this guy right here, on the back here, what I'm going to do is cut that even. Now this is the one where this is where we started. I'm going to cut this even because this is going to get caught in this piece right here. And we're going to leave that piece for just a minute. And once we get closer to when we start sewing, I'll show you how to fold this in. But we're actually going to start right here and start sewing all the way around. So let me grab my binding foot. Ooh, I do go up when I'm talking. Just notice that. So let me grab my binding foot. Can't hold it. And well, let me show you really. So hopefully you can see this okay. So what this has is it has a smooth part here, but then you have a ledge right here. This ledge sits in the ditch right here. So it helps with your binding. So you've got a cut out smooth edge. So you've got the bulk of your fabric on this side. And then you have the ditch part right here. And this guy is riding on the quilt itself rather than the binding. It's not even, and it's not meant to be even. This actually helps you get really, really smooth binding. So I'm just going to put that little ledge right here in the stitch in the ditch part. I'm going to leave. Now you can move your needle over to get right in the ditch. I'm going to leave mine on top just because I don't mind. It doesn't matter to me where the stitching is. So I'm just going to start sewing, and it'll help me keep nice and straight. And I'm just going to go ahead and take out my pins as I go, or clips as I go along. Just checking for questions. Now, when I get to my corner, I'm just going to go one pass the fold and turn, and that lands me in the perfect spot. So your local baby lock dealer will have these feet. The great thing about baby lock feet is they are not that expensive. There are other companies out there, their feet are outrageously expensive, but the baby lock feet are very affordable. This is so cute. All right. Now, I have to forewarn you, I am not the best binder. But this foot makes me look good. And I've never, well, let me start over. I had once sewn on my binding like this, rather than hand stitch it on the back once. And I gave it up until I started using this foot. And I was like, oh, I'm not too bad. No goodness. All right. So once we start getting to this, where you're right here, what you want to do is you want to fold your 1/4 inch down right here. And this is going to take a little maneuvering. So you already kind of have a fold, right? Let's see if we can get in, zoom in there for you so you can see what I'm doing. So this is hurting me. All right, so here is where we stopped sewing it on. Then you automatically have this natural little fold because we folded the rest of it to the back, right? So we're going to lay that edge right there. We're going to take this piece and whip it under while holding everything together. And what happens is it creates a little sandwich for that end to go into. Okay? And from there, you can start stitching again, and I would get close to the end where we're almost to the end, get that on, and now we can take this and start folding it in to form a little fold, I guess you can call that. And I don't know how many inches you want to leave this tail, but just enough. I didn't measure that first one I did. I'm just taking and twisting it in. But all I'm going to do is stitch along the edge. Hold everything for a little ways, couple inches. Well, I shouldn't say couple inches, maybe 4 inches or so. We can always trim it off. Okay. I'm going to cut. Okay. And then you can kind of decide on how long you want your loop. So that's about right to me right there. So what I'll do is I'm going to cut a little bit beyond that. And I'm going to unsew a couple stitches. So I've got my seam ripper here. Gonna unsew a couple stitches. Maybe, there we go. That way I can come here and turn these ends under so I don't have any icky ends. Again, this is not going to be pretty up there. Pretty good job, Anna. On camera, this looks atrocious, but what I can do, that looks terrible. What I can do is take out more stitches. Where did I put my seam? There we go. Let's make it pretty. Oh, this is way off. Sorry. Pretty off. Here we go. Where I can really open this up and really get that flat. There we go. Now I can take and fold that in. Could you have done this at the beginning? Yeah, it would it saved you some headache? Heck yeah. But I must make things hard for myself. Okay, there we go. That's better. And I'm actually going to take this and sew that down. And I'm going to just back stitch right along that edge. Cut. I'm going to clean up these little threads hanging out just so it's pretty. I mean, as pretty as can be. Just get it. Just cut it. And then the last thing we're going to do is I like turning mine a little bit so the loop kind of turns a little. I don't know if that makes sense. You can't really like that, or you can make it straight up and down. So I've got mine kind of angled out a little bit. And all I'm going to do is from the back side, I'm going to still use the same foot because it's there. I'm going to put my foot down and just slowly stitch across. Oh, let me get my hand out. And I'm going to reverse, and I'm going to do this several times just to know she's locked in there. Oh my gosh. It's done. Let's clean up some of these little threads. I'm going to switch back over to you so you can see it in real life. Sorry, I'm clipping threads. You know how we are. We get crazy about our threads. So what if you don't want the loop on there? How do you finish it? Okay, so you would just do a regular binding technique. And unfortunately, since I've already finished that, Ginger, I would go research binding, how to bind a quilt, and it'll show you. I can do that one day, but I don't have it prepared to do on this one. But look at there, we got a second one. 2 projects done, Anna. Oh my God, I'm proud of myself. Where's the other one? Where'd she go? Where'd she go? Oh, I done lost it. If you're new to the group, half of my time on this show is finding things that I lost. Okay. Well, I don't know where the first one is. It's driving me crazy because it was right here. But here we go. How cute is this? Oh my gosh, I love them. They came out so good. And it really is, now that you've designed it, you've saved it to your machine. Now all you have to do is stitch them out, and you've got some cute little gifts for Valentine's. You could do a duck or a bunny for Easter. Christmas, you do a Christmas tree. Really, you can bring in any clip art and turn it into the applique like this. So, I mean, birthday, you could do cute little balloons. That would be cute. So you can do them for all seasons, whatever you want. She's pretty darn cute. I like her. So hopefully, now on to palette. Oh, no worries. Okay, let's see. I'm just checking to make sure. Okay. Well, I want to thank y'all so much for coming back. We'll be back not this coming Sunday, but the next Sunday. So 2 Sundays from now. 1, 2. I guess that's how you say it. And we'll do some more sewing fun. I hope you guys have a great couple weeks. And I'll see y'all very, very soon. Remember, post what you make, because we do have Maker Monday. You must strive to be on Maker Monday. So make sure to post anything that you make. I really don't care what it is. But yeah, I hope y'all have a good one, and I'll see y'all in a couple weeks. Bye. Remember, shop local, shop small. See you soon. Bye, everyone.